Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum. Now, we're about to set up for the first live show of today, and this show will actually be going out on Saturday, so tune into Ballbusters. I'm intending to air this show before Ballbusters goes out at 8 PM UK time, and I think it's 2 PM Central. But in the meantime, I will pass you over to the panel. There are... Who's in there? Let's have a little look. We've got Slick James Johnson. Oh, I'm on mute, aren't I? Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Excellent. Good to have you.
Hey Nathan, yesterday when you were right at the end of the hangout, I don't know if it was the end, but I was just hanging up when I heard you speaking right in the middle of it. Didn't mean to hang up on you, so I was but I heard you saying something, but I missed it.
I can't remember. It was a 4-hour show.
Yeah, it was long, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But it was interesting. And,
well, that's
and
why
what
I
I
let it roll.
found... I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just said that's why I let it roll. It was interesting. I was interested.
Yeah.
So when that happens, it's like, well, why bother stop recording? If it's recording, the conversation's interesting. It's literally not pressing a button rather than pressing it, and but you end up with a 4-hour show.
Well, what I found that was interesting is because I've heard Pete only on a couple of occasions, and Pete seems to be the type of guy that he has a lot of information, but it's scrambled, and he tries to tell you his whole story. And so that's why it seems like in 1 minute, he's speaking very coherently, and the next minute he's talking about Aristarchus energies. You know what I mean? So that's why I was able to understand the conversation that you two guys had, and I was able to differentiate it from the conversation that he had at the end.
I hate people making stuff up. That's what we're fighting against. People who've just made shit up. So we live on a spinning ball, flying through a vacuum. None of it makes any sense, but we're just supposed to accept it. And then the bullshit layers and layers of it that come along with it. Well, you see the start of that in things like Polaristarchus, a word that Pete Shea's made up. Or what was the other one that you just mentioned? Simic energy, I forget what he called it.
Oh yeah, Aristarchus energy.
Aristarchus energy. And what other nonsense did he come out with? So he said there's a severed tree at the centre of the North Pole. And I asked him to show it me, and he showed me a picture of Aristarchus.
Right, and I had this conversation with him before, because the first time I heard Pete speaking really well was on Jose's channel, and I talked to him about it. I said, you have some very interesting points, but all of a sudden you just go into these attacks on people right in the middle of your story. I said, you need to find a way to separate that, because that's causing you to sound like you're out to lunch a little bit, And he kind of, sort of tried to explain it, but...
Pete's not out to lunch. He's out to breakfast, brunch, lunch, dinner. He's not in for a single meal.
But I find some of the things that, like, he had my attention on some things. It's just that some of the things that he says just sounded very interesting. So, it's all just information, but...
Not really. You start off thinking, oh, that's really interesting. Pete's got something interesting to say. And it very quickly transpires that he hasn't. And you normally waste quite a significant amount of time. In yesterday's instance, probably about 2.5 hours were wasted listening to Pete to find out basically nothing.
Yeah, because I actually now even last night I woke up, because I'm not a sleeper. I only sleep a couple hours at a time. So I woke up and I decided to just go to his channel and just listen to, him rant, and
Okay.
go off on one of his things. So, and that's why I said he he's done a lot of, I can tell by listening to him, he's really into what he's into, but putting the thoughts together is where he seems to be having a problem at being coherent.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. Earth Flattener said anything. He's usually the quietest on the panel. Probably disappeared. I might do the same in a minute. Go make myself a coffee. How long have we got before the live show? 10 minutes.
Have you started the pre-show yet or not yet?
I always do. That's the first thing I do as soon as the show's set up. Anticipate that if you're on this show, it's recording.
Oh, okay.
I used to disclaim it when I first started doing it. Now I don't bother. Sometimes I'll mention it if I haven't started. So occasionally I'll say I'll start the pre-show in a couple of minutes. But generally speaking, just assume that I'm always recording.
Well, I like to take these opportunities when no one is nothing going on to speak a little thing, just so to take away the silence. So I had something that I wanted to mention while you do your coffee thing there. So I'm going to put this out there. So what I am noticing is that people have a hard time understanding where I'm coming from, and they think that I don't answer questions, and I'm very elusive and hard to understand. So I put this together maybe so that people can understand. And it goes something like this. I am like a lion or a lamb, you might say, or like any other animal. I experience reality the same way that animals experience reality. I just don't let the idea that I can produce thoughts get in the way of that. See, so that would give people an idea of where I'm coming from when I say I don't have beliefs, because animals don't have beliefs. All they have is their instinct and their awareness, and they're fine with that. They live generation after generation, and it works just fine. So that's the reality that I live in. So I hope that clears things up when people say, well, you must have this, you must have that. No, I don't must have anything. I can, hey, Mac.
How you doing, brother? You okay?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, Mac.
Nothing much, just on my lunch, chilling. Hope you guys are well. Good.
Yeah, just doing a little pre-show conversation.
Anything interesting?
No, nothing really. I was just taking the quiet opportunity to speak a few things, but it's neither here nor there, just information.
Nice one. Cool.
But I was talking about being a lion or a lamb, and
Okay, get you.
the reason that I choose those items is because I always like to start out as a lamb. And if I find what's coming at me very humble, I will remain a lamb. I only turn into a lion when the arrogance starts. So that's why I picked those two animals. But I have basically an animal mentality, if that helps anybody who has any question of understanding where I'm coming from.
I think a lot of your comments speak for itself if anybody's got any common sense.
Yes, exactly. And see, and what happens is, see, there are some people who, there's two types of listening. There's listening to understand, and then there's listening to respond. And I know the difference.
True.
That's why I always know when to be a lion or a lamb, because I'm aware of it.
Yeah. I hear that. Is anybody having a problem with your choice of animals?
Oh no, I just brought it up. This is my first mention of it.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, because to me, I think it's man's ability to imagine is his biggest downfall. Now, when I say this, I'm not stating this as fact. I'm stating this as just an idea, just information. These are just thoughts, random thoughts that cross my mind. Because animals don't use words to communicate. They don't formulate. They don't do things like try to detect an expanding universe. They couldn't care less about things like that. And like I said, that's my mentality. It's the exact same. I think being a human being gets in the way of reality. That's just me. And if we can, or if I can find a way to bypass that humanness, I can be closer to reality, like animals are.
I hear that. Understood.
And then a lot of times too, what's hard is communication, because when two people are communicating, whatever you're trying to communicate automatically starts to get diluted in the communication, because I could never uh, tell someone my experience 100%. I can't do that because there's too much involved in the experience. So when a person is listening to understand, they can get that. But if they're listening to respond and attack, what they'll do is they'll pick things out to try to discredit where you're coming from. See,
Yeah,
so
nitpick at your words. Yeah, I understand.
yes,
Yeah,
right,
instead of just listening to the entire statement and just taking it as it is. Yeah, I understand.
right,
Very true, Slick.
yes,
Yeah. To understand and to respond. Yeah. Well, well, on a platform like this, when people are listening to respond, it's doesn't always go well, does it? Like this,
exactly,
it's better in face-to-face conversation.
right.
There was a lot of egos yesterday.
Yes, there
It's
is.
weird.
And
It's
see,
very.
and
Sorry, go on, Karen. Sorry.
no, it's okay. No, go ahead.
I was just saying it was weird to listen to. It didn't feel right. It was a lot of egos in there, a lot of name calling, a lot of nitpicking and character assassinations yesterday. That's it. That's all I got to say.
Yes, no, that's okay, because I mean, I am partly or probably mostly responsible for a lot of that character assassination yesterday, but that's what came out. In other words, that was the moment, and that's what was going on, and that's just what.
Yeah,
So, yes,
I think
definitely.
you reverted to your lion, didn't you?
Yes, exactly. I was a lion yesterday.
Yeah. I think yeah. I
Well,
think
I
I
feel
prefer
like
you when you're a lamb.
I feel I was the biggest culprit yesterday. Because
Very low. Sorry, sorry to cut you. You're very low.
I'm on it. I'm on it.
wait, hold on. Yeah, I felt like I was the biggest culprit yesterday. Because I was loud and aggressive, and Slick is always calm and or for the most part. So can you give me criticism on how I was yesterday? If you heard me, Matt, or anybody?
Do you know what? When I jumped in yesterday, it was that Peter. What was his surname? The Irish gentleman,
Shea.
Pete.
Yeah, that was
He,
way late. Okay, all right.
yeah, he was doing a lot of talking, and it was. I think he was. He had a back and forth with Sleeping Warrior. That's when I jumped in, and I didn't quite. Is that Flat on Earth who was just asking my opinion?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, no, I didn't catch much of what you said to give you an evaluation or my interpretation of it. Sorry.
No problem.
I just didn't think there was some of the names I heard in there. I didn't think that we should have gone to that level that we did. I say we collectively.
I regret nothing.
And seeing that's one thing that I noticed in the conversation too. And one of the reasons why Nathan, I think of you the way that I do is because you say what you are. You don't say one thing and be something else. It's just like, I remember a conversation on one of your shows where someone was asking you about how you lose your temper and all, and you said, listen, that's just how I am. That's just how it goes. That's me. So see, you came out and said it. You didn't try to sugarcoat it or anything. You were just yourself. And saying my philosophy is, when it all boils down, this is your show. And if someone doesn't like your attitude, they don't have to come on it. And it's really kind of just that simple.
Yeah, I
So
said something similar yesterday. I was sort of reminiscing about when I first got online, and it was in 1998, and I was shown by a guy called, I think his name was Ralph. This is going back a long time ago. Anyway, he showed me how you could be anyone you liked. And he basically, literally the first thing he did was go to AOL Instant Messenger, looked up a load of profiles, found a girl that was obviously a girl, or at least you would think. Anyway, and starts asking her what she's wearing. Now, he's obviously got some random, strange screen name. And he's like, yeah, you can do whatever you like. You're basically anonymous. You can, And I was like, I don't like that. I want to be exactly like I am in the real world. So if I meet somebody, there'll be no surprises. I'll just be the same person. I won't suddenly be a totally different person. Now, most people's attitude with the internet is, I can be anonymous. I can do whatever I like. I can be a slightly different person or a vastly different person. Whereas the reference I was using yesterday was my screen name. So Nathan Oakley 1980, where this is being broadcast right now, although it's not, it's recording. But when it is the name that I had back then. So I said to him, well, no, I want to identify my age, my gender, and typically you're asked for your location, but that's in your profile. But my point was that I wanted to be as open and as transparent and not sort of pepper what I say in any way or elaborate in what I say because I'm thinking I can just get away with it because I'm anonymous. In other words, I want to be able to stand by all of my comments left in forums, left in message boards, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's it. My attitude has never changed. So all of the comments I leave, I stand by. They've all got my name next to them. So it's just a different type of attitude to most, in my experience, people on the internet. Most people want to have some sort of anonymity because they can feel that they can be a bit more maybe open or express themselves easier if they're not necessarily going to be held accountable or less accountable or whatever. But me, I'm like, yeah, hold me accountable. This is me. I don't care. You take it or leave it.
all right, and also, it's a place to hide. See, people can hide behind these anonymous things.
Exactly.
Right. Because I'm the same way. See, I just don't have anything to hide. I'm myself. That's just all there is to it. I don't care. You know, it's just like I use the name Slick James. See, that just started because when I started my channel, it was basically for music. I adopted the name Slick James as a play off of Rick James because
right.
my name is James, right? See, so that's all it was. If it wasn't for that, I would just use what my regular straight name was, but that's just how it started.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon, and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Shout out to Paul Hall for hitting the super chat before we've even got the intro out of the way. We are joined by The Plain Truth, Slick James Johnson, Paul, Mac, and Flatten Earth. Very good to have you all.
Good
Good
morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, any signs of curvature?
No such thing as I can.
Nope.
No, Travis? Nothing new?
Nope.
Nothing. Same thing.
Bum holes. Oh well. Any signs of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
No signs of that either.
Nope.
Any scientific evidence of gravity, perchance?
Scientific evidence of what?
Gravity? Scientific evidence thereof? There isn't any. Just in case anyone was
Travis, you
wondering.
didn't. Hold on. Travis, you didn't reach the note. You were off
I
key.
I know. I gotta change it up every once in a while.
You got to do your some vocal training exercises to be able to hit that high note that you're able to hit.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go.
Can you sing, Slick? Have you got a singing voice, or did you play an instrument? Mac,
No, I was saying that
Mac.
Travis.
You need to keep yourself on mute. So yeah, do you sing?
Who, me?
Yeah, in the pre-show you're talking about your Slick James Johnson name being a spin-on. I forget who you said it was.
Oh, no. What I am is I am the oldest unknown rapper in history. Like, in other words, I'm the oldest rapper that ever existed that doesn't have a contract.
You subscribe to Stinky Cash, don't you?
Wait a minute, say that again. You broke up a little.
You're a Stinky Cash subscriber, are you not?
Am I a who subscriber?
Stinky
Cash.
No, not at all.
Oh, I thought you'd.
I've heard of him.
Sure, we discussed a video that he made about They Live that you obviously just caught as a one-off. He was talking about mumble rap. What the hell is mumble rap?
Oh, what mumble rap is?
Mumble rap.
What mumble rap is? You're rapping, but you're not quite as clear. You're almost clear, but you're
Mumble rap is garbage.
Wow.
That's what it is.
It's some of those Atlanta boys. They mumble rap, don't they?
Right, but I wouldn't say it's garbage because it takes a lot of skill to do that.
No,
yeah,
it does. I agree, Slick. I agree.
Okay, fair enough. Any evidence that we can have a gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon? For all those fundies who believe in outer space being a vacuum, the sky vacuum, any evidence of that?
No.
Nothing whatsoever.
Not yet.
Darwin here? No, Darwin. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Measurable.
Nope.
Oh, Mac, your mic etiquette is awful. Shout out to Kirsten Smith for the super chat. Thank you very much.
Sorry, Nathan.
That's all right. Don't worry. I'm used to it. Any evidence that you can have a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
It just depends on how vivid your imagination is. If your imagination is vivid enough, sure you can.
Last but not least, any evidence of the presuppositional R value, Earth radius?
Once again, depending on how your imagination works.
Shout out to Jose J.G. Gonzalez. That concludes the housekeeping.
Shout out retracted.
Timing is everything. So yeah, did you see Ranty's video this morning? Don't worry if you didn't. Just say no.
The clip that he put in from Jose's channel?
Yeah, so Rumpus, on a bit of a roll at the moment, concedes that there are other things beyond Earth curve, the single assertion the Earth curve calculator makes, that can cause things to be obscured from the bottom up. The hysterical part being that he demanded that Ranty was an idiot based on his assertion that you can have things like tidal bores. And then he dug out a letter from a professor that had been studying it, and he immediately, Rumpus that is, changed his tune and conceded that there are, in this case tidal bores, other factors that can cause obstruction from the bottom up. In the same video, he's also conceding that mirages do the same thing. He went on to say that that's, of course, an effect of superlooming, which got a great chuckle out of the whole panel. But there we go. I just thought it was quite a good little snip, considering Rumpus is on a bit of a losing streak, if you want to call it that. You know, he's disclosing and disclaiming left, right and centre, which is great for us. Bad news for you globeheads, who he is literally pissing in the faces of. Well, not literally, metaphorically.
Yeah, I thought Chris Berry's snip that he cut out too was absolute gold.
Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, I'll have to check it out and subscribe to Chris.
Yeah, Rumpus actually was stuttering and stammering when Chris called him out. It was absolutely brilliant.
I must check that out. It's been a tough week for the Globeheads, I would say.
Well, that's because, see, they're just so used to not being challenged. See, and now what is being done, there's this nonstop challenge that won't quit. And there's just no way to deal with that for them.
I actually agree with that, because this was supposed to be silly and have gone away years ago, right? Well, we're still here. More people waking up to this every day. That's why you're struggling to prove your globe, because there's no globe. Sorry, guys.
And see, what basically happened is they figured that if they called us enough morons and said that we were stupid, that we would walk away because we don't like being called that and we want to be intelligent. So what they figured was that since we want to be intelligent, that we would go back and buy into the globe just so that we can have this intelligence that they think that people want to possess. But I have no desire for any such intelligence. I'd rather just take reality and they can keep their intelligence.
Yeah, the assumption is, again, this was Stinky Cash's point this morning. So you're saying the way we're talked to is that we have never been to school, never learned anything about the heliocentric model, just woke up one day in a cave and went, oh, I've looked outside, horizon flat, Earth must be flat. Hey, Mark. Hey, Mark.
Hi, folks.
Need to mute your watch page. But yeah, obviously every one of us has been through the exact same education system and had the same brainwashing and the same influences of globes everywhere, always. So, no, it's not that flat earthers are dumb or misinformed. Quite the contrary. More informed.
If you want to, Nathan, you can play that clip from...
You took the words out of my mouth. I was just going to say we're more informed. Your model and the flat earth arguments. So...
Yeah, he drew a comparison with vaccinations, and he was saying the people who don't vaccinate their children aren't not vaccinating because they are wanting to intentionally hurt their children. It's like they've done research and come to the conclusion that it's not a good idea, and therefore they're not going to do it. They're not just going to arbitrarily say, nah, I've just decided I don't want to, in the face of, you know, endless health advisors and doctors telling them, no, you must. Well, those people who stand against that have to be in opposition to that and get ridiculed for it, called anti-vaxxers and all the rest of it, just for making a decision based on the well-being of their own children. They are ridiculed for it. But they are ultimately the more researched than your average Joe just says, nodding to the doctor, yes, okay, stick that needle in. We'll worry about whether or not it damages them afterwards.
Yeah, it's funny you brought that up. We actually had that conversation, or my wife had that conversation with her dad yesterday. He came back saying the same rhetoric as you just said. We just want to make sure your child's safe. You know, I'm going like, and we're not. That's what she basically said to him. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, like the opposite opinion, because you don't want to vaccinate, is that, no, I actually want to harm my child. So, yeah, just tell me that it's for the best, because I obviously want to harm them. It's like, no. And the same applies here. It's like, no, we've all had the education. We all understand that the common man's rhetoric is we live on a spinning ball flying through a vacuum. However, upon a bit of investigation, it turns out not to be true. Why? Well, because it's second law of thermodynamics violation. Why? Because the horizon rises with your eye, as opposed to falling away like it would as you reached that spherical view that they give you of the blue marble. There's water. The fluid dynamic nature of water is to suggest that it can only be flat when at rest. So to suggest that it's being pulled into a sphere, complete nonsense. Well, most people haven't got the vaguest notion of this when they just nod along with the mainstream rhetoric or watch the Universal ball go by at the beginning of the movie. You know, they just nod along and then tell you you're uneducated. It's like, no, I've been through the same education as you. I've just looked into it after the fact, not just accepted it. Nevertheless.
I was on Discord the other day, and someone asked me, they said, well, do you understand the heliocentric model? I said, well, I took astronomy in college and got an A in the course. And they said, yes, but do you understand the heliocentric model? See what I mean? These are the kind of things that they throw at you. It's like if I just told you I took an astronomy course in college and got an A, then isn't asking me whether I understand the heliocentric model kind of dumb? Right? But he couldn't understand that. See, he needed to bring me in his arena so that he could do a battle. Me taking astronomy and getting an A in a course, that automatically means I have to have some idea, right?
Well, if you're looking into the subject...
Him, can I see the model?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, can we see this all-encompassing, perfect model that works beautifully? Let's see it. Show it me. Post a link in chat, I'll approve it.
And see, and that's another thing that they come up with. Like, where in nature do we ever see a law that says you have to have a model? But they speak of a model like it's some type of, you know, like it's something that that's built in stone. That's just something that they made up, that you have to have a model. No, I don't see anywhere in nature where I walk down the street and I see a big sign that says you have to have a model written across the sky.
Hey, Physics Warrior, and hey, Arwin.
Hello.
And say hello to you, Physics Sorry.
Hello.
Yeah, it's called a reification fallacy, Slick.
Oh, okay.
There's also a subtle ad hom in that when they say you don't understand. They're insulting your intelligence. Of course, we understand. The rumpus resorts to that fallacy so many times. You don't understand. It's just insulting us.
Yeah, but I've heard people say that, oh, flat earthers don't understand the model when they don't know how fast the Earth is supposed to be going around the sun. Like, that's just a silly little number, and you don't know that, but you're going to question me about my knowledge of this model? That's ridiculous.
Well, one of the reasons, like I said, and I was talking about in the pre-show, and one of the reasons why I stand by what I stand by is because I have the exact same experience as any lion does. I experienced the same thing. I don't need a model. I don't experience any spin. I don't experience any tilt. I don't experience any orbits, none of that. So I just I take the same side that they do, and they go through generation after generation, and they experience and they have life, and there's no problem.
Yeah, but they're not seeing billboard posters with globes on all day, are they, in the jungle?
Exactly.
Are lions even in the jungle? Is that where lions are? I don't think they are.
But if you took a lion and let's just, you know, for hypothetical, what would a lion experience? Would a lion experience a flat earth or a globe earth? It would be a flat earth, because that's what they're experiencing. There would be nothing in their lives that would tell them that they're on a globe, nothing whatsoever, but everything would be telling them that they're on a flat earth.
Clearly in chat says Slick is a lion. Slick is lion.
That's clever.
I always thought that it would be an interesting documentary to have the heliocentric model explained to some indigenous group that had never come across science before, and try to explain to them that they're spinning, that the Earth is curved, and all of that, and just see the the natural reaction to the absurdity.
Oh, to see the natural laughter coming to try to explain to people that who know very well they live flat and stationary that they're actually spinning and sticking to the side of a ball. Yeah, I would love to see that too.
Would it be some Eastern cultures that you could actually experience that with? Somebody that was of an Eastern culture, although they're being brainwashed right now into heliocentrism. It's like the one world religion, right?
Through
Yeah.
all modern schooling, as long as it's being allowed.
Absolutely, Nathan. It's universal.
Worldwide, everyone's being taught about the ball.
Sure. I mean, again, I need to shout out Snack to the Future. It all the presuppositions and all the things are trained within the universities, all under one roof, and it kind of, I hate to say this, but it leads to a certain type of a faith and belief system, which we would call the Vatican. They're all intertwined, and they are part of this university, and it is universal, and which leads back again down to Roman and Greek. And I have this is where Slick comes in, where he says, he does have an idea where astronomy comes from, but I wonder if Slick knows that it's pretty much ad hoc astrology. It's all the same, but it's very interesting how history unfolds itself back to a Roman and Greek. That's my humble opinion.
Yes, and actually, that's very interesting because you will hear stories that there once was a Roman Empire, and this Roman Empire is no more. And I always wonder about that because that would be a really neat trick
Absolutely.
to say that it's not there when that's all there is.
Oh, sure. I mean, if he went to college, I mean, you're exposed with fraternities and wow, the hazing and the brothers and sorority sisters. It's all Greek to me.
From what I understand from the Roman Empire, also through Martin Liedtke's research and all, not just his direct opinion, but all that, I gather that the Roman empires were mostly just conquerors and enslavers, and they claimed a lot of buildings that were already there as part of their own. And then, yeah, eventually it was written that they were the builders. But most of it, they probably didn't even build themselves. Or they just repaired a little maybe here and there. They were conquerors.
Does make sense.
Yeah, just throw a naked statue in front of it, and oh look, it's Greek. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Holding the Helios ball. It's pretty much everywhere too. The statues, the buildings. It looks like a franchise was put out from the past. That's all I can tell you. But where everything still leads us to Roman and Greek words, Roman and Greek statues, Roman and Greek universities. It's leading to those two types of cultures.
Well, how about Roman and Greek almost type buildings in the United States that were supposedly built very, very rapidly right after the colonization broke out big time, and they just popped up everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same style building. So were the Romans in the United States as well?
From what I heard, the last voyage, and I forgot who who was the explored this was I forgot the captain, but really, I mean, it's Australia. So I don't know if Australia exists, but yeah, I mean, there is Australia, and it seems like everything else also pre-existed too.
But was that the Romans or the Phoenicians?
I'm not sure, but I spoke with somebody from Australia. It was probably it was discovered in 1800. By let's see, it was a ship of slaves or prisoners that habitated Australia. But who knows? That's part of the history that I'm getting.
And then even history, like when you look at history, it has to be understood that history could just be written in. You know, just because somebody says, well, this happened in 2000 BC or whatever, that doesn't mean anything. Anybody can write that. We can only expand as humans, maybe from children to parents to to grandparents, maybe great grandparents, and that's pretty much it. So you can write anything that you want. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's the case. That's where the belief comes in.
Hold on. There's a little bit more to it than that because a lot of this data is also cross-referenced with historical registries and other types of data. It's not just all a story. Some parts may be, definitely, but not all of it. There's a lot of cross-references with actual historical data.
Right, but my point is, what if the same people are in charge of all of the data?
Well,
That
Slick, are you begging?
doesn't matter who's in charge. That's only going to matter to what the story about the data is going to be. But the data is still the data. The objects are still the objects.
Right, but
Well,
you don't understand what I'm
all right.
saying. The
I
point,
am.
I'm sorry.
Did you have something to add,
Slick,
Physics?
all right. I'm sorry,
Go
Nathan.
ahead,
Go ahead.
Physics.
Well, I'm just saying, Slick, are you begging the question that somebody won this war, or if there's a victor that's rewriting history?
Well, what I'm saying is I'm just posing the question that isn't it possible that one group is in charge of all of the information? So what may be thought as being cross-referenced between different sources is all the same source. I'm just raising that question.
Yeah, I actually get that point. It makes
Yeah,
sense to me.
I
It's
get your point,
it's
but
possible.
I don't think it is possible. I think there's enough. You can do primary source research, and you can't collude all of the primary sources. I just don't think that's possible. That's just my opinion.
No, and I understand what I'm saying, and that's why I'm just raising the question. Is it possible that you can have three different sources that appear to be three different sources, but they're all the same? Just like a company. You can have three different companies, all with different names, different locations, different brands, but you go back far enough and they're all the same company. I'm
Right.
just saying,
Yes.
I'm
That
just
I
asking,
think.
could this be?
Companies,
Yes. That I
corporation.
think.
The concept of a corporation isn't even that old.
Just an analogy, Arwen. Yes, when you put it like that, as opposed to all information coming under one umbrella, then absolutely not. But whereas when you say, well, could several sources? Well, that's conspiracy, right? Well, yeah, definitely.
Well, Nathan, it takes conspiracy at the minimum. It takes two people. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so. To
All right,
conspire
so
only takes two.
Let's compress the timeline from the past to today. So, is it not true that the Vatican created the king and were under subject of the king?
Yeah, so far so good.
Isn't that two people or two entities?
Yeah.
I rest my case.
Well, the term conspiracy has been used as a pejorative term, right? So if you're it's back to this is Stinky Cash again. This is what I was talking about this morning. So he's saying when you actually look into stuff rather than being learned or more informed, you become a conspiracy theorist.
Well, if I apply the logic that I'm hearing, then you can't know anything of the ancient past whatsoever. So anything from mythologies to any stories to anything coming out of the ancient past cannot be known. So only that cannot be known is why you've been alive basically can be proven. So if I apply
Sounds like
the
solipsism to me.
Well, no, because Paul's going to make a different point now, which is presumably about the actual methodology of research when it comes to historic documents, right, Paul? Well, if you're not, hope you are now.
Well, yeah, basically that's it. I mean, to prove collusion, I mean, if you understand the ancient world, I mean, you have a collusion across the ancient world. That's a hard thing to do. It's harder to do. I said it's impossible. Nothing would be virtually impossible. But if you've got one source in one part of the world saying something, another source in the world talking about something else or about the same event from different perspectives, that would give some credence to the actual historical event. You'd have to show that there's some kind of collusion going on between these two different sources. So, I mean, I never lived in the ancient West, but there's enough information out there that from different sources, whether like Erwin saying that going back to historical records in every city across America, you can get probably a pretty good picture of what the ancient West looked like in the U.S. So I don't know. I think I made my point. So
Yeah, but it still would be a very neat trick to have information come from one side of the world and then from the other side of the world and appear to be coming from different sources when it's all coming from the same source. That would be a neat trick. And we live in a world of tricks.
Yeah, you're
right.
You're describing Winston's job in the Orwellian world of 1984, right? Putting stuff down the memory hole and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I'm not saying as far as 1984. It's just a thought, that's popping into my head that would.
Yeah, but what you're alluding to, in my opinion, is that type of world where everything is controlled under one narrative, and there's a specific job set out to basically erase certain things that don't need to be in the narrative. Well, that would require everything being under one umbrella, all of the information being controlled. Now, while I don't necessarily think that's the case, I think there is certainly the other example where you say, well, is there certain instances where 2 or 3 people are colluding to create what seems like 3 primary sources and it's not? Well, yeah, I do think that happens, and that is very 1984.
But Nathan, out of curiosity, why do you think that that's such a thing that couldn't be pulled off? Why do you think that there couldn't be just one source for all of knowledge?
Because that implies that there's a greater plan, that somebody, let's just call it one man just for ease of discussion. So this one dude, even if that's a company or a conspiracy of several, that one dude has the motivation to control all the information. Now, I think certain information gets controlled because people are predominantly interested in power and money, but they're not so slick as to be able to control the entire world narrative. I just don't think that's possible, given us as individuals, people, and their limitations, and their motivations. In other words, is there a motivation to control the entire narrative of every piece of information ever? Well, no, but is there a certain amount controlled by Google? Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I think we just differ a little bit, because I think it would be something that would be very possible. And not only that, more probable than not, but that's just me.
Like, walk us through how that would happen in the ancient past or even in general. So walk us through how a narrative can be controlled through that narrative if it's possible. So walk us through
Who are you asking, Slit?
I can give you guys an equation.
Hold on. Who are you asking, Paul?
He was
asking. He's saying he said it's possible for that to occur. Walk us through, pick a narrative and show us how it would be controlled across thousands of miles in the ancient world.
Okay, I can do that. Try to do that. Let's use the idea. Now, this is just an idea. Keep that in mind. Let's use the idea of the Roman Empire. Now, if history is correct at all, let's assume that it is for a minute. Wasn't there a time when the Roman Empire ruled the whole world? Is that a thing or not?
Not the whole world.
Hold on. Before we get into this conversation, I don't hold this viewpoint, but I'm going to do it for you just so this is done quicker. So you could just invent it now, or 10 years ago. You just invent the narrative that is claimed to be history in the present and tie all the loose ends between all the different narratives yourself now, rather than actually documenting anything. So you just make the whole thing up. There you go, done. Right. All information is then controlled by you, because you have made it all up in the first instance.
But then all I have to do is, okay, you make these narratives, and I have to say, well, I have to start investigating how you tied those together, and are those links valid? Do they hold water? I'd have to go through and evaluate those individual links. And if at any point do those links start to break down, then the narrative starts to break down. So
yeah, that's back to my saying that you'd have to have the motivation to do that, and I just don't think it's there.
Agreed.
Well, yeah, and like I said, that's where we differ, because I would say that the motivation is there, because, and if you'll notice, just even around us, the motivation is to be in much control as possible. People try to broaden their range of control constantly. So if that's the case, I can't see where that would ever end.
It's just not possible to do. I don't think it's that people don't want to have as much control as possible. I'll agree with you on that as well. But in terms of the feasibility of actually achieving it, it would mean that you'd have to literally control every pen ever created. It's just not possible.
Right. But it would be a really neat trick to make you think that that's not possible when it is. Now, wouldn't that be a neat trick?
Anything's possible, but yeah.
Okay, but do you understand my question? That would be a neat trick for something that, like you just said, that's probably impossible. That would be a neat trick that if it was possible, but making you think that it isn't, that would be a neat trick, wouldn't it?
It would, and again, I could even, further that argument, which I don't agree with, and say, going forward, you just have to have the memory hole, discard of anything when it crops up immediately. And yeah, there's a certain amount of incorrect information that you don't have control of in circulation, but you try and acquire all of it. This is just 1984 though, but I think there is certain elements that are very much like that, but they're certainly not all-encompassing. Like I say, you can't control every pen.
The thing is, I understand what you're saying, but this is what my point is. If I wanted to control, let's say that I was in control of everything, but I didn't want everybody to know it. Well, I would make it seem like it's impossible for me to be in control by myself. That would be the first thing that I would do, is make that seem impossible. Now, wouldn't that be the case?
The line out of a movie, I can't remember what movie, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
You just stole what I was going to say. I was just going to say, I'm not very religious, but I do remember that.
Usual Suspects.
Usual Suspects.
Yep.
Damn, you got there before me. Yeah, well done, Earth.
The devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
Yeah, that's what you're driving at, right, Slick? Just convince the world.
I guess that would be a good analogy. I didn't think of that, but sure.
See, but I think what Nathan's driving at, though, that means whoever's in control would have to have a massive amount of control to do that. You would have to prove that. So
because that's in reference to the devil. So we're talking about an entity that's considered more powerful than you and I, right, Slick? So in terms of us mere humans, while, yeah, in the past I've ranted on about how fantastic we are and how all-powerful we are and we don't realise our own potential, etc., etc., that holds true, but there are limits.
Right, but my point is, now when this devil thing came up, that's not my point. Somebody just used that as an analogy, but that's not what I'm talking about. But that is a good analogy, but I'm not talking about the devil himself. I'm talking about just someone that wanted to be in control. The first thing they would do when they were in control would make it seem impossible to be in control so that they would never be detected. That would just be the thing to do.
I think they've got a better method, which is just don't exist, be in the shadows. While people might name the Rothschilds, it's not necessarily the case that these are public figures making speeches. Yeah, just stay in the shadows. Much easier.
The logic in this thinking, though, is nothing can be trusted. Nothing. So we're left back to square one. That nothing can be trusted. So if it goes, that's the logical outcome of the thinking. And
no, it isn't. No, it's not. That's not the logical outcome, because what can be adhered to is experience. That's what's left.
Well, I'm talking about.
Hold on. Let me just draw the distinction between what you're both saying. I think Paul's talking about men, and Slick is talking about the world. Am I right?
I'm not sure.
Well, you're saying experience. Well, yeah, you can experience men and what they do, but I'm talking about you open your eyes, you see what you see, that's your experience. That's not the actions and behavior of men.
Right, exactly. Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah, because that's why I say what I say and I go by experience, because if I go by experience, I don't have to be concerned with trust.
Yeah. Good for you.
Yep, basically, I guess.
Burdening yourself with conclusions.
Yeah, and don't burden yourself if something is true or not. So.
Well, like I said, you can paint, you can overpaint that any kind of way you want, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't change the fact.
Well, we all experience is that every person you'll experience, even the best of them, are deceptive to a certain extent. Some through necessity, others through malicious intent, but ultimately speaking, people are pretty much the same in that regards. Can you 100% trust everybody always? No. Well, therefore, you've got to have a certain degree of skepticism about what you're being told by men. And by men, I don't mean males.
Right. And that's why, like I said, that's why I take the stance that I take. It's just all information. See, I don't let the fact that I can think get in the way of reality, because reality doesn't require me to think. Reality just requires for me to experience. It's men that think, and men can think anything. They can come up with all kinds of things. Can it be verified? Who knows? So I don't get involved in that. And that's why I abandon the belief system, because I don't need it. Reality doesn't require me to believe anything. It only requires me to experience.
Amen to that.
Was that a subtle dig saying amen to that? It was clever.
That was flat and earther.
So yeah, where did this all begin? I forget now.
Well, we were talking about experience, and like I said, I'm having more and more questions of what I'm talking about when I say experience. So I'm basically trying to have a conversation about it to clear up any misunderstanding. So that's basically how it all started. Like I said, to summarize and to recap, I'm just basically a lion. I'd rather see myself as a lion than a human, because lions don't ask all kinds of questions. They just experience, and they accept their experience, and they're done with it. Lions don't trust. Lions don't believe. They just experience.
Well then, Slick, you asked a lot of questions. You asked a lot of questions on this panel.
Yeah, I propose questions. It's ideas. It's conversation. That's what people do. They talk.
So do lions have ideas?
That's the difference. Like I said, I am a human. I understand that, but I don't take that human stance. I take the animal stance, and there's a reason for that. Because from what my understanding is, I used to think just like a lion. All I had was that instinct. But somebody came along, and maybe this is just an idea, but maybe somebody came along and implanted thought where I didn't have it before. See, I don't know that. All I know is I don't need thought. It's very unnecessary, because reality covers it all. I don't need to think in order to experience and live, just like lions don't. I don't need it either. So my philosophy is, why did somebody come along and install all of these imagination thoughts? For what? What is the purpose of this imagination? It doesn't mean anything.
Are you thinking when you're talking to me right now?
Yes, I'm thinking, because
It's all
I've
about
been
comprehension.
Hold on, I'm answering his question. I've been programmed to think. When I was born as a child, when I came out of the womb, I wasn't thinking, but the programming began immediately. So now what I am doing is unprogramming. All of that programming that was instilled, I am deprogramming myself so I can get back to my animal roots.
But we're forgetting the lioness, Slick.
So do lions, animals, have any kind of language?
Like, do they?
Oh, sorry.
Like if you're asking me, do they communicate? I'm sure they communicate, but they communicate through nature. They communicate through experience, not through imagination. I don't think a lion, and I'm just talking because I don't know what a lion does, but I don't honestly think a lion sits down and wonders how far the stars are, or wonders if the earth is expanding, or wonders when there was a beginning of time. I don't think that they do that.
Clearly, you've never seen The Lion King.
You don't know.
I would bet a lion's weight is thinking about when the lioness is going to bring him his food.
Correct. Speaking of lioness, hey Spurs, what's going on?
Spurs.
Hello. Hold on. You can hear me?
Yes.
Jesus. Yes, we can definitely
Lion
hear
males
you.
are probably also concerned with how noble they look.
You hear me
Well,
there? Yeah?
Yes, we
Through?
hear
I'm
you.
just trying to.
Microphone working all right, yeah?
Yeah, you're all good. Thanks for being here.
Excellent, excellent.
I'm just trying to understand Slick here, because if he's trying to experience, then lions don't express ideas and lions don't think, then really I don't know what the point is here, I guess.
Yeah.
But see, you're just throwing a whole lot of extra in the mix that's not necessary, and I don't know why you're doing that.
When you say think, Slick, do you mean imagine? Because, you know, in the words of Descartes, I think, therefore I am. Well,
right. Well, there's two different kinds of thinking. There's processing of information, because as a human being, you have to process information, but that doesn't require imagination.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So imagine as opposed to think. Fine.
Yes.
Not that I agree. Just wanted that clarity, because otherwise you'll get Paul on his last vein was just about to pull you up on that, which was fine by me if you did actually mean think, because, you know, fine, if you think you're not thinking, then you're wrong. But that's fine, you don't, so that's good.
Sure.
Interchangeably, sometimes think could be belief as well in a sentence.
Say that again, physics. Broke up a little bit.
Well, interchangeably, what I'm saying, think could also be used as a belief in the sentence. I believe this is this, or I think this is this. It's almost sounding the same, but different.
No, I see exactly what you're saying. It's a rephrasing of I believe this is so. I think this is that.
See, my idea of thinking and experiencing, and I'll use this as an example. When you turn on your radio, you tune it to a certain station that resonates with you. So if you hear a certain tune, that tune resonates with you, so you tune into that station. So that's what I think thinking is about. It's what you're tuned into. That is the purpose of thinking, as far as I'm concerned. See, when I'm listening to that station, I'm not imagining that I'm in tune with this record. I'm not believing that I resonate with this record. I just resonate with it. See, that's me. That's how I function. I don't function in a world of belief and imagination. I resonate. Resonant frequencies.
Do you think you're expressing ideas?
All these questions that you're asking, what is the point of asking me a question like that? I just don't understand. What are you asking me this for?
Well, I'm trying to understand, because I mean, you talked about like animals. You said animals and sheep and lions and all this stuff, they don't do certain things. Well, I'm saying you're expressing ideas, and I'm wondering, do lions and sheep express ideas?
Listen, Paul, what you have to understand is that I am a human being. You understand? See, a lion.
But you said you're
if you
trying
let
to
me finish. If you let me finish, I'll explain it to you. Now, I am a human being, and a lion is a lion. We are different species, okay? But what my point is, my understanding is that the human species and the lion species used to be one and the same. In other words, they thought the same way. They understood, they experienced the same way. Now, what I am under the impression is that something or someone came along with this belief system, with this imagination system, and changed all that. And now I've been separated from what I used to be. I used to be just like a lion. Then I was programmed into this world of thought and imagination and belief. And now I have to undo that so I can get back to my original intention.
Well,
now,
right, I understand that.
Now, hold on. I can't make it any clearer than that. Now, if you have any further questions, you're just going to have to find another answer, because I don't have anything else to give you. I'm out.
Well, no, okay, you could be out if you want. That's fine. But I asked the question: do lions and sheep, do they express ideas?
Well, what do you think, Paul? Ask yourself
instead of
asking. Okay, so instead of asking me that question, just ask yourself and make the statement. You don't have to ask me. Why ask me questions that
you?
You're beating around the bush here. I mean, look, the idea, Slick, I think, is that we're challenging the idea that you don't have beliefs. Okay, if you get to the nitty gritty, I believe that you have beliefs, and I think that I could demonstrate that you have many beliefs. And that's the question. Do you want to have your ideas or your idea about having a belief challenged, or are you saying, don't ask me about it, it's just my experience?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. You can challenge it all day long. I don't have beliefs. You can challenge it until the cows come home, and I still won't have beliefs. Whatever you think, hold on, let me finish. Whatever you think that I have, that doesn't matter because you don't speak for me. See, only I can speak for me. So no matter what you say I have, it's like bouncing off a brick wall because it doesn't affect me.
Yeah, but I can verify that you have a head. I can say that you have arms, you have legs, and all of these things. I can verify that, right? So I can
what's your point?
I can say what you have and what you don't have.
No, you can't.
But
see what you're trying. See what you're trying to do is you're trying to use tricks right there. See, you're trying to. They call that deflection, trying to get around to make a point. Say, hold on. Okay, well that doesn't work with me. You can't cut corners and go around things
I'm not cutting any corner. I'm being direct to the point. I'm challenging your idea directly. I'm not dancing around and saying, "Oh, well, I just want to know."
You are. You are dancing.
I'm saying to you directly that you have a belief. Okay.
Right, but you're
just like
you are. I know, but hold on. I got to cut you off. I just have to. I have no choice. I have no choice but to cut you off. I have to. I'm sorry. I know, but I have no choice. You can't compare. Hold on.
Verifying things, right? So I can verify that you have a head. I can verify that you have hands. These things are verifiable. For you to say they're not verifiable, well, then what type of conversation is that? That's a conversation of dishonesty, I would say.
Okay, now I was trying to cut you off to let you know I'm not going to play this game with you where you compare beliefs with an arm. That's not the same thing. And if that's the game that you want to play, you can find somebody else to play it with.
Well, this is the thing. It's not a game. It's challenging your belief. You're saying that I can't say what you have.
Did you hear what I just said? I said that comparing a belief to an arm. Hold on. I am not going to play that game with you. Now, if you don't understand that, you're just wasting your time, because soon as you compare a thought to an arm, I already know where this, hold on, I already know where this is going, and I am not going to engage you. Do you understand that?
Well, you said I can't say what you have and what you don't have.
So apparently you don't understand that.
I don't understand, because you said things have to be verified. How do you verify things, right? And I'm saying I can verify what you have and what you don't have, what you possess and what you don't possess. That is verifiable, whether you like it or not. You have a head, you have beliefs, you have a heart.
Now, hold on. I got to stop you again right there. See, you're combining things like arms and beliefs like they're the same thing. See, that's the trick, Chemo, that I have to see. Once I'm aware of the game and the trick that you're trying to play, I stop it and I nip it right there. And I don't allow, hold on. I don't allow you to go any further. That's it. So I'm telling you, I am done with this conversation about arms and beliefs being one and the same. I'm not going to have this conversation with you now. I am about to go on mute, and you can say whatever you want, because I am done with this particular part of this conversation. Thank you.
Well, that was the point, basically, is just to demonstrate that you have beliefs. And I did say that when your ideas are challenged, that obviously you will back out, because you're not able to verify that what I'm saying is not true. So for you to say anything like you're comparing a lion, so I wanted to say earlier on, you were saying you're comparing a lion to something. Well, who told you that? How did you verify? Did you verify that lions and humans are different or the same? None of this has been verified, yet you believe this to be true. You see, you've probably been to a zoo, you've probably seen a few lions, behind cages or something like this. So the point is, I was able to demonstrate that you have a belief. Okay.
Hang on for a second, Kitty. Well, I tried to interject before with Slick, but it got a little bit complicated with Slick and Paul in a conversation. But my point was with Slick is that by taking the lion stance, you're forgetting the lioness, and you're going to get Slick. You're going to have lioness come out and oppose you based on that specific argument. So it is perfect timing that Spurs came in. So Spurs is your lioness right now, and she is actually debating you based on your idea as the lion. That's my opinion.
And also, I was able to show him before, he was born. How does he know he was born, and how does he know how old he is? And I asked him before, I mean, I don't know if he'll address this now, but I asked him before, okay, so you are a man, because the way I was understanding it, he doesn't have an identity. He's not a man, he's not a woman, or anything like this. So how would you label him? And, you know, he was saying, yes, I'm a man. And then the next day, he must have thought about this and said, he's not a man. He's something else. So again, this is why I wanted to discuss these things. But
okay, well, let's discuss it now, because like I said, now I've heard you and I've let you go on and you rattled that off. Now, I explained this to you before. There's two types of communication. There's a physical communication, what we're doing right now, where we're talking. That's where I'm a person. I am a male. But there's also the spirit, where the spirit has no age and has no gender. Now, you're doing this again where you're trying to confuse the situation and mix it up in your favor. Now, I'm really tired of playing this game with you. You can keep on playing it if you want, but I'm just not going to engage with you. You can do all the tricks that you want.
Well, you know, primarily, there's nothing really to engage. It's just my opinion, my idea about dismantling your idea about that you have no beliefs. And, you know, it's easily done. Because
it is not easily done. You can't dismantle anything. That's just your imagination in overdrive.
Well, you have an age, you have a name, you have an agenda.
In the physical world, I have a name and I have an age, but in the spirit, I have no age and no identity because I always existed. And now is the
and with that, I'll say, if you're watching this on the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. However, if you're watching this live on Nathan Oakley channel, this is where we bid you farewell. A massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of you who tuned in, smashed the super chat, liked, shared, commented, subscribed if you hadn't done already, and of course a massive thank you to all of today's debating panel for making this debate possible. If you want to keep yourself occupied after this live stream is over, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley 1980. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Be fooled.
And the trick is a trick.
Yeah, but you can't trick the truth. The truth always stands.
That's what I'm trying to let you know, because your tricks don't work on the truth, but you keep trying them anyway. And it's annoying.
Yeah, but if what you were saying were true, any trick wouldn't matter.
See what I mean? This is why I don't like having these word game conversations, because they are very, very annoying.
You said, "Don't worry, don't concern," and you're
oh my goodness. Worried. Let me go back on mute.
You are the only one who's concerned with what other people are saying. That's the only worry here. You're worried.
See the trickery here. You keep on
You're worried that you're being tricked.
Listen. No, I'm not worried. Did I ever say the word worried? That's a hold on. These words like paranoid, that's your words. I never said anything about being worried or hold on. This is where I get annoyed at. I said hold on. Now, this paranoid and worried, those are your words, and you're trying to inflict them on me. I never said that. So stop doing that. That is the trick that I am aware of. Now, I am really going on mute this time, and from there, I'm just going to drop from the call because I am really getting annoyed.
Can I ask you a question?
As long as it's not a trick question, sure.
I'm not trying to trick anybody. I'm just asking a question.
Then ask it.
You said before that spiritually that you've always been here, right? But can you confirm that? Can you verify that? Like, how do you know that?
To you, I don't have to confirm it to. Why would I need to confirm that to you? That's my question to you.
I'm not asking you to confirm.
I know what you're asking. Listen, hold on. Chocolate, I know what you're asking. But what I'm asking is, why would I even care about confirming that to you? What would be the point?
But can you confirm that to yourself?
Now, see what kind of question you just asked. Can
But
I
it's
confirm? Hold
just a
on.
question.
I know, but if you just listen to me, just think
Yes.
about what your question is asking. Can I, me, confirm something to myself? So in other words, what you're asking me is that, can I experience my own experience? Is that's what it sounds like?
Well, do you have an experience of being always here, or is that just a belief? Because I know you don't have beliefs.
Hold on.
Right?
Okay, so then why would you ask me, is it a belief if I don't have beliefs, Chocolate? That's
Because
the
I'm
trick.
trying to see where
I know
your
what you're
mind is
trying.
on
No,
this
this is
particular point.
This is what you're doing, Chocolate. You're not trying to. What you're trying to do is trip me up with your tricks.
No, I'm not.
See, hold on.
It was a
Hold on.
straightforward question.
I know what you say, but I know a trick when I see one, Chocolate.
Feel like
oh my God.
you believe it's the trick.
I'm not trying
There
to
you go.
catch
Listen,
you
stop
out there,
telling
bro.
me that I believe, Chemo, because I don't have
Oh, you're
beliefs.
paranoid. You think you're being
All right,
tricked.
you know what? I'm going on mute, and in a couple seconds, I'm gonna drop from this call altogether.
Well, okay, but the point is that you're paranoid about something that's not true. You're not being tricked. It's a simple conversation, and we're asking you, challenging you about your idea. If you think that's a trick, well, then that's your problem, isn't it? That's not my problem or anybody else's. Like you keep saying, why do I care about what you do?
He's dropped out.
Hey Lorenzo, how you doing? Can you hear us?
Hang on, let me see if I can get that.
Are we live, Nathan, or have you
No,
started?
we're not.
I'm
at the
doing
moment.
good.
Hold on. Hey Lorenzo,
Alright.
say a few
Are
more
you live,
words.
Nathan? Are you live?
No, not at the moment. Can you say a few more words, Lorenzo?
Oh, I'm just coming on to finish hearing Slim and other guys talk, if they're still talking.
Oh, good to have you.
Yeah, I think Slick dropped out.
Yeah.
I'll drop out if he wants to come back in again.
I doubt he will. I was kind of floored by the statement saying that he's always existed. That was kind of like, really? Wow.
But that's why I asked the question. Did that sound like a trick question to anybody else?
Of course not.
I mean, he claimed that's a claim. You whatever it is, if it's spiritually, physically, whatever it is, you have this experience that you've always been here. And what I'm asking you is, do you know that for a fact? Can you verify that?
Right.
Do you remember your entire existence, or do you just believe that? Because if that's the case, then you just negated your whole shit right there. I mean, I'm just being straightforward. I don't give a fuck about tricking him or not. Like, what the hell? Whatever, man. Anyway,
no, that's his new stance is calling for because he's been discussing this on Discord, and everyone's giving him different points where he has beliefs, and then he came up one day with the trick. It wasn't like that originally. Like I said, when I asked him about is he a man, he was going, I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a male. And then Paul was saying, okay, describe or define, your pee-pee. And then he just blew off. He was like, and then he came the next day saying, oh, I'm not a man, I'm something else. He was saying I'm a god or something like this.
Did he really say that? I'm not a man?
Yeah, he was just going to say, he didn't, this is what I'm saying. People were thinking, how can I have a belief? You have to believe the labels that you're a man. Because you didn't make that label yourself. You didn't describe yourself as a man. Somebody said, you're a man. He said, oh, okay. Right?
Yeah, I think Slick, every time Slick seems like he's getting into a corner where he can't get out, or somebody's questioning his preconceived notions or his thoughts or whatever, this is what happens. And I mean, I don't know if you guys realized it, but the weight of his own comments were falling in on itself because he wants to be like a lion. Lions don't communicate like we're communicating.
Right.
They don't have thoughts like if we don't have thoughts like we're thinking, then what is he doing? What's the point of him saying anything?
Well,
It's calling in on himself. What's that?
I'd like to shout out to the lioness, Goddess Witch Bella, and Trouble in chat, and Spurs.
The what?
The lioness.
The lioness. No,
yes.
Okay. Go on.
Absolutely. So, shout out to the lioness.
What I think he's done, because of Flat Earth, I think he's done this because of the idea of we've been told a lie, and we shouldn't believe anything we've been told. So he's taken that and spun it, ran with it, and just said, "Oh, I have no beliefs now. I have no beliefs." But finding his conversations very short because people are able to show that you have to have beliefs. You can't get away from it. You know, and like even as I said to him, "Why are you even speaking then? Because you have to believe what you say." You know, he gets all angry and mad, and it's like, "Believe me, you have to believe me." You wouldn't get passionate if you didn't want people to believe what you were saying. You know, so if he doesn't trust himself or believe in himself, I said to him, "You shouldn't even be speaking. You've got no need to talk because you just wouldn't trust what comes out of your mouth, right? You would just have thought and just sit there rocking. I'm experiencing." We got him again as well, another good one. So when he comes back, we got him again. So he was like, you know, like, how do you know China exists? Oh, I've never experienced China. So he said he lives in America. So he said he moved from one place to another. So we were like, well, how did you know? Let's just say if it was, you know, New York to California, whatever. So we were like, how do you know California existed when you were in New York? He was like, and he just shut down. He couldn't answer it because we were saying to get to California, you would have to believe the maps, believe whoever told you. You know, you don't experience California or whatever. So that shut him down again. So he really doesn't like arguing with me because I've, you know, really thought about this. We all have beliefs. Otherwise, you just wouldn't.
Well, you have.
Mm-hmm.
Well, your primary belief is you have to believe and trust at some level that you have cognitive function.
Right.
And you have to believe that even your experience is valid. So there's right off the bat, you know, I think I forget that there's a philosophical term, I can't think of it. And it's like a primary thing. It's like it's the basis on which everything else is built, you know, and you work your way up from there. But you have to have a belief that those faculties are valid.
You wouldn't,
you know, that all these faculties,
yeah, you just wouldn't travel, would you? If I said to you, you know, I've been to Scotland, you would just be like, well, I haven't experienced it, so I'm not, you know, how do I know it's there or not? You know, just a whole load of things. You have to trust the vehicle you're in, believe how you're going to get there, all kinds of things. So it's easily, like I say, easily debunked or something, which is why it doesn't last very long, does it? I did say to him, your conversations will be very limited because when you give your idea, like he was about the lions, people are going to say, well, do you believe that? Did you experience, you know, that? So are you going live again, Nathan, or is that it now?
Myself on mute to round out this after show. I'm not going to give Spurs an answer, but I will say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you in the premiering audience in Nathan Oakley 1980 channel for tuning in, sharing, hopefully subscribing, smashing the super chat, all that good stuff. And of course, a massive thank you to all of today's debating panel for making this debate possible. If you need to keep yourself occupied after this premiering stream is over, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!